Hey, good day to you. This is Todd. I'm a regular dude walking in the Word. We are concluding Leviticus chapter 20 today, as we did this in 4 episodes, chapter 20, and it's entitled today, Be Ye Separate. We talked about, in the first episode of chapter 20, sacrificing to Moloch, okay, and we were definitely supposed to be separate from the foreign gods, especially as we talked about the God of myself, pleasing myself. And then we talked about being involved with mediums and fortune tellers and so forth, staying far away from that. And then we talked about yesterday the breakdown of the family. And we went through that episode, and there's a whole list of things that it's basically sex outside of marriage of one man and one woman, the way God ordained it. And when you distort that, then that distorts the family, and that's the breakdown of the family. But today I wanted to conclude, and it concludes in this chapter by asking the Israelites to be separate. They're not to be like the nations around them. The nations around them were doing these perverse sexual acts, were sacrificing to Moloch, and so you come into that land and you're very different, because you're not doing the child sacrifice. You're not having sex with your mother, all kinds of stuff like that. And so you're going to be different. And God says, I want you to be different, okay? And if you're not different, you will either be excommunicated or you'll be executed, okay? So let's read here today. This is taken from Leviticus chapter 20, verses 22 to 27, the end of the chapter. It says, keep all my decrees and laws and follow them, so that the land where I am bringing you to live may not vomit you out. You must not live according to the customs of the nations I am going to drive out before you. Because they did all these things, I abhorred them. But I said to you, you will possess their land. I will give it to you as an inheritance, a land flowing with milk and honey. I am the Lord, the God who has set you apart from the nations. Again, he's spelling it out. The nations before were living this wicked way. You are not to be like that. You're separate. Different. Verse 25. You must therefore make a distinction between clean and unclean animals, and between unclean and clean birds. Do not defile yourselves by the animals or birds or anything that moves along the ground. Those that I've set apart as unclean are for you. If you are to be holy to me, because I am the Lord, you am holy. I have set you apart from the nations to be my own. A man or woman who is a medium or spiritist among you must be put to death. You are to stone them. Their blood will be on their own heads. Okay. Again, it just goes through here and saying, I've set you apart to be holy. The nation you left, Egypt, was filled with idols and doing perverse things. You're to be separate from the people. You left Egypt, so stay far away from that. But you're coming into a land that is full of sin, basically. And you're to be separate. Even, he points out, even the way you eat. Okay, you're to eat these things that the rest of the world around there is eating. But you are to be separate, okay? Today I ask you this: what makes you different than the world? Okay, if you're living just like the world, and I'm not talking about necessarily because, I don't eat these foods that the world does and stuff like that. How is your life different than the world? Okay, if you're living just like the world, involved in the sin just like the world, and no one can tell the difference between you and the world, then there's a problem. But if people can tell a difference because you are living for the Lord, you love the Lord, you're not living in sin and not desiring to live in sin, then that's what God has called you to, and you're separate from the world. And that's what God has called us to do, to be separate from the world. We are still living here in the world, okay? But we're not to be immersed in the world and involved in the world. We are to be a separate people, but we still live here, okay? That's an old song that goes, this world is not my own, I'm just a passing through. Remember that today, all right? Hey, thanks for watching. I'm just a regular dude walking in the Word, and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow as we continue our journey through Leviticus. Lord's blessing. I'll see you then. Hey, good day to you. This is Todd. I am a regular dude walking